One of the most important pieces of advice that anyone can give is to stop telling people your problems. It's not because your problems aren't real or that they don't matter. The truth is, everyone has problems. What matters, though, is how we choose to deal with them. When you share your problems with others, you risk inviting their opinions, their judgments, and often their pity. People are not always equipped to help you. And worse, many will not give you the kind of advice or support that you truly need. Instead of seeking validation or sympathy, you should take ownership of your problems. When you tell others about your struggles, you're essentially asking them to solve your issues for you. This is an unhealthy dynamic. It makes you reliant on others, shifting the responsibility of your life to external forces. Instead, you must confront your challenges head-on. The act of facing your problems by yourself builds resilience and personal strength. It teaches you that the solutions lie within you, not in the hands of others. Telling people your problems also create a narrative around your suffering. Every time you share a struggle, you reinforce the idea that you're helpless, that you're trapped in a cycle of negativity. This narrative becomes your identity. And when that becomes your identity, it's harder to move forward. The longer you feed into the story of being a victim, the more difficult it becomes to escape that mindset. You need to understand that personal growth comes from overcoming your difficulties. When you constantly talk about your problems, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to solve them. You are constantly rehashing the past and continuing to live in a state of victimhood. By sharing your problems with others, you invite their perceptions of you, and these perceptions may not be helpful. Even the well-meaning advice from others can be clouded by their own experiences, biases, and limited perspectives. There's another issue that arises when you continually share your problems. People start to feel burdened by them. No one wants to be a constant sounding board for someone else's woes. You may think that you're getting emotional support, but you're actually pushing people away. Over time, those around you may begin to view you as a source of negativity, and they will begin to distance themselves. This is a natural response. People have their own struggles, and while empathy is a crucial aspect of human relationships, there's a limit to how much negativity someone can take in. So what can you do instead? The first thing you need to do is take a step back and think about the problem objectively. How did it come to be? What steps can you take to resolve it? This process requires self-awareness, self-reliance, and patience. Recognize that there are always solutions, but they require a certain amount of work and commitment to discover. Don't rush to external sources for validation or help. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is sit quietly with your own thoughts and allow yourself the space to process. Furthermore, telling others about your problems doesn't just affect you. It also affects your relationships. You may think that you're seeking advice or support, but many times, what you're actually doing is dragging others into your emotional turmoil. This creates an imbalance in your relationships. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking attention, but this is an unhealthy way to engage with the world. Instead, aim to be a person who is known for their resilience, not for their victimhood. When you choose to face your problems alone, you develop confidence in your ability to handle life's challenges. You learn that, although life is difficult, you have the power to endure and overcome. This builds character and strength. And that strength is something that cannot be taken from you. Don't misunderstand this advice. This is not to say that you should never talk to anyone about your problems. There are moments in life where you need help, where you need guidance, or simply where you need someone to listen. The key here is not to make your problems the focus of every conversation. You should seek support when necessary, but refrain from turning every social interaction into a therapy session. Instead, learn how to engage with others from a place of strength, not weakness. Let your actions speak for themselves. Show the world your ability to handle adversity. Learning to keep your problems to yourself is about reclaiming your autonomy. It's about recognizing that you are responsible for your life. No one else can fix you, and no one else can solve your problems for you. The moment you stop telling people your problems is the moment you start to solve them. This is not to say that you should hide your feelings or bottle everything up. It means that you should seek solutions within yourself first, and only ask for help when you've exhausted your own resources. When you stop telling others about your problems, you free yourself from the chains of dependence. You regain control over your life, your choices, and your destiny. This process, while challenging, is incredibly empowering. It forces you to take responsibility for your actions and your life. And once you do that, you will find that solutions begin to appear. There's a deep psychological truth to the idea of not telling people your problems. It forces you to become an active participant in your own life. Life is not about passively existing or relying on others to solve your problems. It's about taking responsibility for your choices and actions, and this requires emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is the ability to face your emotions without letting them control you, and it is a hallmark of personal growth. When you continually share your problems with others, you reinforce a pattern of avoidance. Instead of confronting the issue directly, you are outsourcing the responsibility to others. But you need to understand that the real strength lies within you. You are the one who must walk through the storm, not someone else. And while it may feel like a burden to carry that weight, you'll find that once you've done it, you are stronger for it. The ability to deal with hardship, to face adversity head-on, builds resilience. It builds grit. When you make the choice to handle your problems on your own, you develop a sense of inner peace. There's something incredibly liberating about not constantly seeking validation or sympathy from others. You stop relying on external sources to make you feel better, and instead, you cultivate a deep sense of self-reliance. This is a key aspect of emotional maturity. The less you depend on others for validation, the more you develop a deep inner strength. By taking responsibility for your problems, you also free yourself from the habit of complaining. Complaining is one of the most disempowering things you can do. It keeps you stuck in a victim mentality. When you complain, you are essentially saying that you are helpless, that you have no power to change your situation. But the moment you stop complaining and take responsibility for your actions, you reclaim your power. You stop being a victim of circumstances and become the creator of your own life. Another important aspect of this advice is that it encourages you to cultivate problem-solving skills. The more you practice solving your own problems, the better you become at it. Life is full of challenges, and they are inevitable. However, how you respond to these challenges will determine your success. If you constantly rely on others to give you solutions, you're not developing the skills necessary to handle the difficulties of life. But if you learn to solve your own problems, you grow stronger and more capable. Furthermore, there's a danger in telling others your problems too often. You start to become defined by your issues. You can't separate who you are from your problems anymore. This can lead to a sense of stagnation. If all you do is talk about your struggles, you are essentially letting them define you. You become trapped in your own story. But when you stop telling others about your problems, you create space for new narratives to emerge. You stop seeing yourself as a victim and begin to see yourself as someone who can overcome any challenge. One of the most powerful things you can do in life is learn to deal with your problems privately and then show the world your strength. This strength comes from facing adversity without the need for external validation. It's about learning to be self-sufficient and developing the confidence that comes from solving your own problems. You don't need to announce your struggles to the world. You need to face them with courage, wisdom, and determination. So, the next time you find yourself tempted to share your problems with others, stop and ask yourself, is this really necessary? What am I trying to accomplish by telling others about my struggles? Am I seeking validation, sympathy, or solutions? And more importantly, what can I do to solve this problem myself? If you want to grow, if you want to become a more resilient and capable individual, you must learn to deal with your problems privately. Solve them on your own. And when you do this, you will realize that the greatest strength lies in your ability to face life's challenges without relying on others. You will emerge from your struggles stronger, more capable, and more confident. And that confidence will empower you to take on whatever life throws your way.